Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video I wanted to do a follow-up video of the Dell Canvas 27 unboxing and show what it looks like on my desk all set up, which I have behind me here. I'll show you a better look at it in just a second, and give a little bit of a demo, my initial thoughts on it, and give an example of how I would intend to use this to create doodling style videos similar to Khan Academy videos for computer science tutorials and that kind of thing. So let me move the monitor in here, move the camera in here a little bit better, and you can kind of see how I have it set up. So this monitor here is the secondary monitor. That's the Dell P2715Q. That's a 4K monitor that I have behind it. It's just sitting on a stand. I don't have it on a monitor arm or anything right now, although I'm considering perhaps putting that on a monitor arm so I can kind of move it around. And then obviously the Dell Canvas 27 is laying here flat on the desk with the there's a little thing that slides up that allows you to put it at the angle. Otherwise you can leave that down and have it be flat on the desk. So I have this sitting on a 5-foot by 30-inch deep uplift desk, so it's a height adjustable desk. There's many of these on the market now, and you can see that I have the keyboard and a mouse. There is enough room for me to have a small keyboard and mouse up at the front, and the way that works, let me move around to the back here just to show you. You do have plenty of room on a 30-inch desk. That's kind of what I'm trying to show, that I have this little power strip here which is forcing the monitor up a little bit. If that wasn't there, I could move this back a little bit. And also if I had a monitor mounted on an arm or something, then I could have even more flexibility in how far back I could push this stand. So anyways, the point of that is just to show that I think a 30-inch deep desk does work well for this configuration. Now when I use this, so when I'm not doing a doodling video or anything like that, then I can just use this as a standard 2-monitor configuration. But when I go to do to use the writing, the stylus, my plan would be to move the keyboard off to the left and the mouse off to the right, and then to slide the tablet forward, the canvas forward, and then I would be able to write on it. Let's see. So, a couple of interesting things that I've noticed just so far in using it. As I said in my unboxing video, this supposedly will only work with Windows 10. I haven't tried it out on Mac or Linux. I've been assured by information on the internet that won't work, so I haven't tried it myself. Now, one thing you do have to do is you have to make this canvas be the primary display. The first time that I tried doing this, I didn't have this be the primary display, and then when you try to use the stylus and do anything here, instead of doing manipulating any of the windows or anything here, then instead it would move things on the primary display, which obviously wouldn't be what you want. So that's why you have to make this be the primary display. So that was the first thing I noticed. The second thing I noticed right away when I tried to use this is that I had problems with when I would touch it. The palm rejection wasn't perfect, and I was accidentally like hitting my icons down here in the Windows taskbar, and I was like accidentally launching applications and that kind of thing. And so I was really worried about that. And then I discovered a really great feature of this laptop, or not laptop, of the Canvas, is that there's a button right up here in the upper left hand corner, or well, not quite the corner, just off in, just a little bit in from the upper left hand corner, and you can press that and that will disable the touch. And so I thought that was a nice thing. And just as a little bit of a side here, I could imagine that was a good decision on Dell's part, in my opinion. The ability to put in the ability to disable the touch. That way you're not relying on the palm rejection software to be perfect, right? I mean, palm rejection software is never going to be perfect. And I could just imagine if I were the engineer that worked on this project, right, how this conversation would go, okay? Based on, you know, how similar conversations have gone for me in past projects that I've worked on, I would be the guy arguing to put the button on there to disable the touch, and because I would be arguing that no matter how good the palm rejection software is, it's never going to be perfect, and there's always going to be times where it doesn't do exactly what you want, and it'd be nice to just have a way to disable the whole thing. And I could imagine my manager, you know, I can imagine some managers I've worked with in the past that would be sitting on the other side of the table, right, and they'd be arguing against me, and they'd be telling me no, and that I wasn't solving the problem, and that, you know, the real problem was, you know, I was just masking the problem because the palm rejection software wasn't right, and it was a bug in the palm rejection software, and I wasn't focusing on the customer, and I wasn't making a high enough impact, blah 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 blah. And that's how it would go if I were on this engineering team. I'd be the guy arguing to put that button in there, and everybody else on the team would be arguing not. But that guy won this time. My protege self in Dell won that argument and got that button in there. Good job. Good job for getting that button in there, because that is very, very, very helpful. And that made all the difference in the world for me to be able to use this the way I intend to use it. Okay, anyways, that was a little philosophical diatribe, and since this channel is about philosophy and software development, I thought I'd work that in there a little bit. But good job on that. Okay, so now the software on this, I've tried a couple apps, and not everything works on this. The only app, or not everything works, or not everything works well. But the one app that I have found that does seem to work well is the Microsoft Whiteboard app. That sort of, you run a setup program and it installs it. And so I wanted to show that and kind of give a little bit of a demo of how I think I would use this tablet. So I've got the Microsoft Whiteboard app is running, already started up here. So I'm going to adjust the camera and then kind of show a demo of that. Let me zoom in a little bit there. Okay, so I've already got the Whiteboard app started. You start the app by there's a icon that shows up down in the lower right of the taskbar, and you click on that to launch the Whiteboard app. And once you get that open, you can then create a new whiteboard. And supposedly you can share this with other people, so you can have like a shared whiteboard experience. And so now I'll show how my intention would be to move the keyboard off to the side, move the monitor off to the side, and then being careful to not push that plastic lever over, kind of pull it forward so that I've got now better access to the screen. Something like that. And then, so now the Whiteboard app is pretty easy to use. Sorry. I've already changed the background to a black background. It's a white background by default. And I can select different colored pens here. So this is the yellow pen. It writes very, very smooth. On this app, I've tried it on Smooth Draw 3 or Smooth Draw 4, which didn't work at all, and I've tried it on Liveboard Online, which is another online whiteboarding app, and the ink was not smooth on it at all. But on Microsoft Surface, the ink is very, very smooth. I appreciate that. Here's the red pen. So it's real easy to switch colors. Blue pen. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pens, and you can change the color of the pens. You've got a highlighter and eraser. The ruler tool, which does not work well at all, and then the lasso and blah blah blah. But really, it's the pens that I would expect that I would use. If you want to clear the, so let's see, let's do one more pen, green pen. All right, and so now I can go over here to the menu, and I can, let's say, clear the canvas. There, and now that cleared the canvas. So let me give a kind of a little quick demo of how I think I might use this. Again, I'm intending to use this for tutorial videos. I do also do photography, and I could imagine that I would eventually use this in combination with Lightroom or Photoshop to do photo editing. But that's not the purpose of this video. I'm trying to show it if I were going to do a Khan Academy style tutorial video using this equipment. So let's say, for example, that I want to show the Pythagorean Theorem. Okay, so let's start off here, and we have a right triangle. The height is x and the base is y, and the hypotenuse is z. And of course we know the Pythagorean theorem that x squared plus y squared is equal to z squared. And I want to try to prove that here. I know the angle, hopefully you can just get the general idea here. I've got a little bit of glare coming off. Let me see if I can fix that. Alright, still got some glare on there. Let's try. Yeah, I can't get rid of the glare, sorry about that. But you just use your imagination and imagine I'm trying to do a tutorial video on the Pythagorean theorem. And so how do I prove the Pythagorean theorem? Well, let's see. First, I want to make a square out of the z hypotenuse. So let's say I've got a square coming up out of here. And then I want to make a larger box out of the that surrounds the diagonal square in the diagonal like that. Okay. And then this would be the dimensions of this would be, so if this is x, then that's y, and if that's y, then this is x. This isn't to scale. And then that would be y, and that would be x. And that would be y, and that would be x. And now, to prove the Pythagorean theorem, what I want to do is calculate the area of this inner square here. And I can do that in one of two ways. One is I can just do z squared, right? Because this is a square and it has the length of that square is z. And so I can say that that square is equal to z squared, which happens to correspond to the one side of the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, but there's another way that I compute the area of that square. I can take the area of the big square and then subtract off these four little triangle pieces, right? So that's another way. So what I want to do is I want to subtract off these. I want to take the area of the big square and then I want to subtract off the area of these four little squares here. Four little triangles rather. And so the way I would do that is, well, the area of the big square is going to be x plus y, because that's the length of the big square, and that's going to be x plus y squared. Okay? But now I have to subtract off the area of these four triangles. And so I need to subtract, there's four of them, and the area of each triangle, if we remember what the area of a triangle is, 1/2 base times height. And the base is x and the height is y. And so that's going to be 1/2 x times y. And so if I multiply this out, the x plus y squared gives me x squared plus 2xy plus y squared. And then I'm going to subtract off, and if I do the multiplication of the 4 into what's inside the parentheses, I'm going to get 2xy. So I've got x squared plus 2xy plus y squared minus 2xy. Well, the 2xy's can just cancel out, and I'm left with x squared plus y squared on the right hand side, and that's equal to z squared on the left hand side. So anyways, that's just an idea of how you could use this in combination with the Microsoft Whiteboard. You could record this using something like Snagit or Camtasia, and then that's how you could produce Khan Academy style doodling video is what I'm trying to show here. So you're not really stressing the canvas too much here. You're just using it as a smooth way to write and get ink out of it. And like I said in my first video, you can do this with software on the on the iPad, and you can use your iPad. But this just gives you a much bigger area to work on, and so I appreciate that versus using a small tablet. Now, when Khan Academy first got started, they were using these tiny little Wacom bamboo tablets to do that, which you can't. Obviously, it's just a piece of plastic. It doesn't display. You can't see what you're writing, so you have to be looking up at the screen and then writing with the bamboo. Very, very tedious. So you really got to hand it to Sal, Sal Khan, the guy that started Khan Academy. He must have had the patience of Job. He did thousands and thousands of videos like that. I don't know, for the best I know, that maybe they're still using Wacom bamboos. I sure hope they've upgraded to something better than a Wacom bamboo. That's just terrible. That's a terrible way to do it. Extremely tedious. So this is much, much, much nicer if you're looking to do that kind of thing. Okay, that's it for this video. Thanks.